Bonsoir, mesdames et messieurs. My name is Serge Ramelli. I'm a French photographer living in Paris, and welcome to episode number 10 of my Lightroom, Photoshop, and photography tips. In last week's episode, we did some drama. We took this photo of the Lapin Gilles, a restaurant in Montmartre, a very old historical part of Montmartre, and with some tricks, we turned it into some big drama like this. I really liked that episode, so if you have not checked it out, please go back on YouTube and check it. It was episode number 9. This week, we are going to do a composite. I love doing composite because composite is a complete creation. You take something that exists and you add things to create something that never existed. I once came across a photo on Fotolia of this horse, beautiful horse. I didn't take the photo of the horse, it was on Fotolia, but I love the horse and I wanted to take it and turn it into a sunset, you know, like a Mask of Zorro type of photo. So I took this sun from walking into a park. It was a nice sunset and I added it using different composing technique, and that's the final result. I really liked it. It was very popular on 500px and on Google+. So I invite you to my tutorial and I will show you how to do this. Let's get started. Alright, so welcome to this week's tutorial. I had this idea of this tutorial because I saw this photo on Fotolia. I thought it was a very nice horse. And a couple of days before I had taken this sunset. I shot straight into the sun, you know, it was a nice sunset. I had this idea of blending both photos. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm in Bridge and I'm going to right click on the first photo and open in Camera Raw. Even so it's a JPEG file, I want to do a few things in Camera Raw to make this a bit nicer. The only thing I'm going to do is, I already did it actually, is open up the shadows and I'm going to boost the clarity. That's the only two things I did, boost the shadows and boost the clarity. This is how it was at first. I had actually done it before. So this is how the photo was originally. So I open up the shadows and I boost the clarity to have more details in the horse. Then I click on Open Image. That opens the image in Photoshop. I go back in Bridge and I'm going to take this one of the sunset and I'm going to open with Photoshop directly, not going via Camera Raw. Okay, once I have both files here, you see this is the tabs. One is a sunset and one is the horse. I'm going to take the sunset one, which is a much higher resolution file than the horse. The horse, I bought it from Fotolia, so I didn't buy a high resolution file. So I'm going to drag this sunset over the horse. Then I'm going to press Shift before I drop it, and the sunset is going to go way too much big over the horse. Then I'm going to lower the opacity of that sunset, and I just want to make sure the sun is right about here, so you know it's behind the horse. So I put this back at 100%. So this sun is over my horse. I want to invert that, so I'm going to unlock the horse layer with drag and dropping the lock to the bin here, take the sunset, put it behind it, okay, and now I'm on the horse. So this is a horse, this is a sunset. Now once I'm on the horse layer, I'm going to take the quick selection tool and I'm going to select my horse. It's actually rather easy. That's one of the reasons I pick up that photo, is because there's a lot of contrast between the horse and the background. So I'm just, you know, painting over the horse. I want to get his tail here. Now I also want to get the foreground also in the same time. I want to select the horse and the foreground. Basically what I don't want to select is the sky. Okay, so I'm going to select all the bottom here also. Okay, the bottom is pretty much selected. I want to select everything. So now I have everything selected. The horse is selected. And then I'm going to press Alt on the quick selection tool to unselect this gap here between the horse and the ground. I only want the horse. Then I'm just making sure I'm going all around all the corners, all the borders of the horse, making sure I've got everything. I don't care so much about the hair, so I'm going to correct that with the Refine Edge tool. Okay, I'm just making sure, or I forgot this. So I'm pressing Alt and I'm going to unselect this part. Okay, that's fine. And the rest seems to be cool. So you see, it was rather fast and easy. Oh, here, I may be missing here a little bit. Okay, Once I have done this sort of rough selection, so I repeat, what did I select? I selected the ground and I selected the horse. Basically everything but the sky. Then I'm going to go into the Refine Edge tool. And on the Refine Edge tool, you have several options. Marching ants, which is, doesn't give you much. It's just the marching ants around the horse. Overlay, which is not so bad. On black, on white. But what I like to do is on layers, because on layers, which is the letter L, on layer you can see the layer behind it. Once you've done that, by default you have this tool selected. This tool is amazing. All you have to do is paint around the hairs of the horse, and it's basically going to try to select them properly. So I'm going to do this here, drop it. Okay, did a pretty good selection. I'm going to continue here, select the little hairs all over his body. Okay, make sure I get everything, and it's going to refine that selection. Same thing here. Make sure it's a really an amazing tool. I really love it. I really love it. Okay, here we have hairs. Here we have hairs. Okay, maybe here we have some hairs. Here on the front also. All right. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now the selection is pretty good, except we have a little halo around the hairs. So one way to reduce that is to using the option called Shift Edge, which you can drag to the left. That's going to make the selection a bit smaller. Check it out. If I put back to where it was, which is at 0, hold on, let me put it back at 0. Okay, we have a bit of a halo around the hairs. If I put it at -9, for example, there is a lot less halo there. So that's pretty good. Let's see, smoothness can be also pretty good. Just a little smoothness, like 1. Okay, and contrast can be good also. Feather I don't use, because if I do feather, look what's happening. Feather, it makes even more, I think you can even more see the little white around the hair. So I'm going to put feathers back to 0, and maybe just add a bit of contrast to my selection. Not that much, but something like that. It's already a bit better. We're gonna have to improve it a little bit, but I kind of like it. Maybe I'm gonna back down around -5. You have to tweak these settings, on the adjust edge to see how it looks. Let's try to decontaminate colors, if it does something good or not. Before, okay, you have to wait a little bit. After, well, doesn't do much on this one, but I think the basic selection is pretty good. So I'm going to click on OK. It's going to create, I'm just going to put new layer with layer mask. That's cool. All right, so click on OK. So now I can basically throw this layer at the bean. So we have 2 layers now, and we have a mask so we can see through with the sun. So that's kind of cool. Now let's see if we can do something better with the selection. So for this, I'm basically going to click on Command and click on the mask to get the selection back. And then I'm going to press Command J, which is basically going to put the selection on its own layer. Let me take this one out. So now this one I can throw in the bin. So now all I have is the horse and the background, and all the sky has been taken out. So we still have a bit of white around the hairs. Let's see if we can improve that. For this, on the layer, now that we have make it the sky all transparent, I go into FX and I go into inner shadows. And what inner shadow is going to do is, check it out. Before inner shadow, look here around the hairs. After inner shadows, it did something pretty cool, because basically what it's doing is bringing back colors. Now, inner shadow was cool, except I don't like what it did here. You see how it sort of created a shadow around here? That's not very nice, but we can, one is the distance of the inner shadow, we can make a bit smaller, like maybe 3 pixels. So this way we see it a bit less. We don't need that much. We just need a bit of, maybe even 1 pixel would do it. Let's see with 1 pixel, before, after. Yeah, I think 1 pixel does it. It just takes care of the white around the hairs a little bit, but we have this little problem with this dark line. We'll take care of that a bit later on. Okay, so I press OK. So now we've got a pretty cool selection, and but we need to make a couple of more things to make this thing believable. The first thing we need to do is that the foreground is way too bright. This is a sunset. It's supposed to be like the beginning of the night. So for this, I'm going to create an empty layer that I'm going to call dark. That empty layer I'm going to put into multiply. And if you hover the mouse between the two layers, by pressing the Option key, you get this arrow. What this does is basically anything that I'm going to do in this layer is only going to affect that layer. It's going to ignore, basically if I brush, for example, let me take a brush, a black brush. So here is the brush. Make this a big brush. Let's make this 100% just to show you. If I paint this, you see how it painted just over the horse. Didn't do anything on the sky. That's because I did this option between the two layers. So it's only going to affect this layer and it's going to ignore the transparent. Okay, once I've done that, I'm going to take a big brush, make it around 20%. Okay, I'm in multiply mode. Okay, multiply 20% black brush, and I'm just going to brush here over the foreground to make it darker. I want to really make this darker because I want to you know, what we call the American night. I want to simulate the night. Right, so it's getting darker here and here, especially here at the bottom. Make this a bit darker here in the border. Okay, maybe leave a little bit of light here, not so much here. Okay, check it out, major change. Before, after, major change. If you think it's too much, then you can just back it down a little bit, you know, lower the opacity. But I think it's kind of cool. I'm going to leave it like maybe 95% or yeah, something like that. Okay, once I've done that, the other thing I want to do is I want to do some dodge and burning over the horse to make the horse pop even more. And I want to make sure I don't paint over my sky. So same thing, I can go back on the layer of the horse and I just click a new layer, an empty layer, and check it out. It's got the same arrow, meaning it's going to be the same thing. My dodge and burn is only going to apply on the horse, not on the sky. So to do dodge and burn, which I'm going to call dodge and burn, I'm going to put this in overlay mode. I still have my brush, make it much smaller, make it an opacity of around, let's say 10. And I'm just first going to press X to have the white as a foreground. So I have white as foreground, 10%. I'm into an overlay mode. And now I just want to paint and brighten up some areas of the horse to making shine even more. I think it's proper. This horse is just beautiful. It's a beauty of nature. So I want to increase its beautiness by just making the highlights even stronger in some part of the horse. Maybe here on the tail, something like this. Make this a little bit bigger, maybe on his belly. But you see, if I paint here, for example, it's doing nothing on the sky because I have this little arrow there. Okay, here maybe. Check it out. Before the dodge and burn, after. See how it makes the whole horse a bit more wow. Okay, maybe paint even more here. I want to make him very bright here, here. Okay, here a little bit. Okay, then I can press X to have the blacks, and I'm gonna paint, add some blacks maybe here over the tail, even a bit stronger. Let's put in 20% on the blacks. Yeah, just to make sure, you know, there's not so much white here. Okay, maybe darken here a little bit. It's just, you know, complexing the light, it's making him a bit more interesting. Okay, check it out. Before the dodge and burn, after the dodge and burn. Before, after. Not a big deal, it's a subtle change, but I like it. Okay, so now we need to do something about the colors of the horse, because the horse is not exactly the sunset is very bright and the horse is not, very hot, and the horse is not so much, warm. So again, I select back the horse and I'm going to go into the layer style. I'm going to go into selective color. Same thing, I have the little arrow, so I'm only going to affect the horse, not the sky. And this way, I'm going to choose the neutrals. I want to apply the selective colors only on the neutrals. And basically, this is how it works. You have cyan, magenta, yellow, blacks. If I go the opposite of cyan, I have red, green, and blue. You heard about red, green, and blue. So if I go right, my horse is going to become cyan. And if I go left, my horse is going to become red. And that's what I want. I want the horse to become red. So I'm going to add some red. Now, the yellows, I want to add some yellows also in the horse so that it fits more with the rest of the photo. Check it out. Before selective color, after selective color. See how the whole grass, everything is more, fitting a bit more with the rest of the background. That's kind of cool. Okay, so now I have corrected. My horse has the right color. It's got dodge and burn, and we have darkened the grass to make it, fit more with the atmosphere. Now, I'm going to create a layer that's going to take into account all we've done so far, because now I'm going to start doing a global manipulation to, create even more the effect that the horse was really there. So for this, I'm going to press Command Alt Shift E, and that makes a layer taking everything into account. And I'm going to do several things on that layer. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to blur the background here, which just to take out this line, and also to give a bit more depth in the photo. So for this, I'm going to go and take the blur tool and make sure it's about that big. If any tools in Photoshop can be resized by holding down Alt and Control, Option and Control for Mac, and Alt and Control for Windows. So now with the blur tool, I'm going to blur the horizon line just to give a bit of sense of distance, that this is far away. And when it's far away on the photo, usually it's a bit blurry. So I'm going to blur this a little bit, actually as much as I can. And it's going to take out also that line that we had. Okay, same thing here. I'm going to blur this a little bit. I can make this smaller and make sure I blur here. All right. And one thing you can also do is blur around the horse a little bit. In some part, it helps blending in. Okay, that's a bit too strong. Command Z to undo. I'm going to put the strengths around 29%. I'm just going to blur a little bit here on the hairs, here on the back. It's mixing him up with the background a little bit more, very slightly, but it's giving the illusion he was there, which is what we're trying to do. Okay, I usually would, spend a bit more time on this, but I'm trying to do fast, so you just get the concept. Okay, so the horse is there. The horse is starting to get there. Now let's make some other global changes to this photo. Let's do some contrast. So let's go. I'm going to try to go into hue and saturation and put this in a soft light or overlay. Okay, let's go for soft light. Soft light. Then I'm going to lower the opacity of that around maybe 22%. It just adds. It's one way to add contrast. I usually try this, or I'm going to take this out for a second. I'm going to make a curve contrast. See what works best. Just give it a try. It's two ways of making contrast. For this, I think the curve is better actually. So I'm going to take out this technique here. Okay, I'm just going to make a regular curve contrast. And then usually when I do contrast, I right away make another curve to brighten up the whole photo. Okay, then I'm going to take both of these curves and drag them into a group. So now this is like the contrast group, before, after. Okay, I think it's not so bad, maybe a bit strong, so I'm going to lower the opacity of the group. That's one of the advantage of doing this into a group. Okay, before, after, before, after. All right, I think that the photo should be even more red, so I'm going to add an adjustment again a selective color, but this time to the entire photo. And I'm just gonna take my cyan and go the opposite to add a bit of red. I don't know, I think it works well to add a bit of red, not so much like -9, -6. And you can, when you do the neutrals, if you use the blacks and you go right on the blacks, it's gonna add contrast, a lot of contrast. I wanna make this a very poppy photo. Yes, check it out. Before, after, I added contrast and make this a bit more red. So all I did was go into the neutrals and I went left with the cyan and added a bit of blacks. Okay, last but not least, I'm going to create one more layer that's going to take into account everything we've done so far. Okay, and I'm going to put this into multiply mode, which darkens the whole photo. Then I'm going to take my rectangle marquee tool, make a rectangle like this, a big one around. I'm going to feather the rectangle. If you follow my tutorials, you know I do that very much often to create a vignette effect. So modified feather, feather 100 is cool. Then I'm going to press delete. Command D to undo my selection. Now this is with the vignette effect, that's without the vignette effect. It's a bit too strong, so I'm going to lower the opacity of the vignette effect, maybe around 40%. Check it out, before, after. Yeah, it's a bit of a vignetting, I think helps. It helps blend everything. And voila, that's basically it. When I originally did this photo, I spent a bit more time on dodge and burn and everything, but that's the overall technique, you know. Just to let me show you in the history where we came from. So Windows, history. Okay, history, we started off here and we ended here. Now that's a major change. And well, I kind of love doing that. And that was the trick of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, just a little note before we finish. I want to show you my website, which is called photoserge.com. If you click on the App Store link here on the right, you come to my little shopping where you can buy all the training I have on Photoshop and Lightroom. All courses cost $10 if you download directly to your PC or Mac with the blue button, or $6 if it's to your iPhone and iPad. The difference between the two is the quality of the video, and there you get directly the raw files. I have a new course that just came out today. It's called Photoshop CS6 Shooting and Making Panoramas. I had a blast making this training course to make great panorama, regular panoramas, HDR panoramas, and I invite you to check it out. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can get this free weekly podcast every week. And voila, I say let's get back to the studio. Alright guys, so I hope you liked that tutorial. I love composites, and so this week's inspiration is for me the master of composites. His name is Joel Grims, and here you can see his website. He has incredible, amazing composites, full of drama, full of colors. I love the emotion that I get from his photos, and he's really the man. I got a lot of ideas, inspiration, wanting me to do composites. So really check him out. You probably already know him because he's very popular, but in case you don't, check him out. Okay, so I'll see you next week. And one little thing I ask you, if you can, if you like that podcast, please make a little review on iTunes, and only if you really like it, because it helps me getting this podcast known. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.